Hey guys, it's Albert and welcome back to another video and welcome to my channel, the #1 channel on YouTube designed for the new age entrepreneurs. Today I'll be talking about the idea of consumer versus creator. And honestly, I truly believe that if you understand this concept deeply and you listen to what I tell you in this video and this resonates with you, this will change everything for you. It'll change your whole perspective on how you view social media, media in general, and consuming information, and it will move you forward to the goals that you really, truly desire. Most of us are on social media every single day. If you go to your phone and you go to your settings and you look at your screen time, the screen time is absolutely insane. We spend so much time every single day just scrolling through our screens, doing pointless activities, and comparing ourselves to other people on social media. But when you shift that focus from just scrolling aimlessly towards nothing and focus it on something intentional to create something for yourself, the whole perspective changes, especially those of us who are talking about creating a career online. So it's a common misconception with all this information that we're getting online and about how this hustle and work towards everything, and you just read tons and tons of books, tons of quotes, tons of information, tons of Gary Vee things. Not that anything's wrong with that, but the idea behind that is that it's not really moving us forward. And what you're doing is you're just comparing yourself and contrasting based on your own experiences without actually moving forward towards something that you want to create for yourself. So if we were to look at advertising, marketing, social media about 10 years ago, it was the person who was able to make the most noise that made the most impact. Nowadays, our attention has shifted towards the people who are most authentic and the people who actually share stories and ideas that matter and impact us. And the reason behind that is because it's so much regurgitated bullshit that we're constantly seeing day to day that's not actually benefiting us. And we're constantly just consuming this information, and it's not moving us forward. And most of the time, we get really disappointed, we get frustrated, and we don't know how to move forward because everyone's just selling us on this idea and that idea. But the reality is, when you stop and you move forward with the knowledge that you already know, then things will just change for you immediately, even if it's not effective. So let me tell you about a story about this, because I am a victim of this as well. So for years and years, I would consume books, I would read books, and I would learn all this information. And I got to a point where I felt like I couldn't really go more into self-development without sharing my knowledge. And that really kind of brings me to sharing this information right here. That's what I'm doing right now. So you're watching this video to get some advice on how to move forward, but I am standing on the opposite end, right where you are, doing the same exact thing. And am I perfect at doing this? Absolutely not. But the reality is, you don't need to be perfect or be an expert to influence people in the world. You only need to know a little more than the other person in order to be quote unquote an expert. And that brings me to my next point, which is that the idea behind an expert or an actual professional, the difference between an aspiring professional and a professional is simply that, the title. The person who is continuously aspiring and just learning this information without actually applying it is just, that's all it is. It's just that mind gap of yourself and what your own worth is and what you perceive your own value as. So once you place yourself as an expert and you start teaching people things you've already learned, because you've already had your own God-given talents and you can apply that to other people and influence people, things will move forward for you and you will learn more just by helping other people. So look, whether you're at a point where you're already putting out content, where you're already sharing your information, and whether or not you're doing this online or not, the point is, creating will actually move you forward, while consuming will only hold you back. And that doesn't mean that you cannot consume. You just need to question what information you're consuming. The information you should be consuming is information that will, one, either move you forward, or two, will inspire you. Anything else is just wasting your time and is blocking your time out. This might be a really harsh reality to hear to some people, and it's important to have a balance between those things, because at the end of the day, if you're just constantly hustling with no reward and not able to enjoy your life, then what's the point of it all? But that doesn't mean that you need to consistently do that more. Instead, you should reverse the script and flip it around into a point where it's more of that rather than that. Let me describe the 80-20 principle a little bit. So 80% of your efforts should be towards creating and documenting, while 20% should be on the consuming part. And however you want to do that 20% is all up to you. So look, whether you're waiting for that perfect day to know it all to begin, stop waiting for that day, because that day will truly never come. And I say this from first-hand experience. Just start creating things that you're passionate about and start sharing your ideas with the world, because that will actually move you forward. As I've mentioned earlier, the only difference between an expert is the title, meaning that if you don't consider yourself an expert, all you need to do is learn a little more than the other person. Now, you might be wondering, this idea is obviously easier said than done. And the reality is, yes, it's easier said than done, because if you look at any company in the world, it seems like it's all perfect and all beautiful on the outside. Any person, any personnel. But if you really dissect what's behind the scenes, it's a mess. It's a giant mess. And that doesn't mean that it's not possible to still continue and create things. Me personally, I've been running a business for a couple of years now, and behind the scenes, things aren't always as they're planned out to be. I'm continuously solving problem after another problem after another problem after another problem. And you never really get to a point where all your problems are solved. The reality is, it's okay to be in that huge mess and that huge confusion, because that is truly what the passion derives from. If you're really passionate about what you're doing, it doesn't matter. You continue doing that one thing, you continue sharing your information, and you continue doing you. So I'll leave you guys with that. If you really take this idea and you take it to heart and you apply these principles in the real world, things will automatically mold into something that you've wanted to be. There is no perfect time to start creating. Just create from what you already know, move forward, share that knowledge, and you will learn even more. I guarantee you that. So if you guys enjoy this video, and if you can relate to this and understand it, make sure you leave it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you guys in the next video, and I will speak to you guys soon. Goodbye.